Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm back with another podcast with one of the amazing person I have today. Her name is Shaista, and who Shaista is? Shaista is a program director, educationist, research writer, development practitioner, radio broadcaster, accelerated learning curriculum designer, and she wears a lot of hats. Thank you so much, Aista, for taking out some time for my show today. Welcome to my show, and please introduce yourself in more depth to my audience, who you are.
Thank you very much, Hassan, for inviting me to your podcast. And this is the most difficult task, introducing myself, because till now I am discovering who am I. So I am Shaista, as you said,
Okay.
and I am a human being, a very common person, just like anybody else. So I think that's all.
All right, great answer. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile and I see you're doing a lot of stuff. So your career spans around social development, education, and public policy. What inspired Shaista to dedicate your entire work to social impact? I want to understand that thought process behind it.
So honestly, my journey into social development did not have a big plan in the beginning. So
Okay.
it started with curiosity and a little discomfort. So while growing
Okay.
up, I kept asking questions from myself that why some people have opportunities and a better life and why some other people don't. And later when I started
Okay.
working, so I got opportunity to teach at a university, and then for 1.5 year I worked in print and electronic media, but I was not happy with what I was doing there. I did not have the
Mm-hmm.
contentment. And I also did not take it seriously as my career. And incidentally, I slipped into development sector. And there, when I started working with children who were out of school, and the children in prisons, and the people who were, trapped into poverty, and women who were exhausted and exploited, that gave me a meaning. Gradually, I started discovering my meaning. So I started kind of enjoying because I had a meaning, and now it gave me some satisfaction. And also, I saw that there was intelligence and there was talent everywhere, but most of the people did not have opportunities. So that realization stayed with me, and I felt that education is the key solution to most of the problems that we face today. And for myself, I decided to work on solutions. I thought to dedicate my life, or, not dedicate my life. This sounds very, you know, very conventional. So I started to, you know, get involved into doing something that can help people, and that was education was my thing that I chose. And what inspired me the most was looking at the people who once were told that they could not succeed and they could not do anything, and suddenly they realize their potential, and the lens through which they look at themselves and the world around them suddenly changes, and they find their meaning. So that's the biggest inspiration that keeps me going.
Very nice, interesting. We talked about कि लोगों को अपॉर्चुनिटी किसको मिलती है किसी को नहीं मिलती that intrigued all this. And I think I was reading somewhere there was an Indian educationist, I forgot his name. He did a small experiment back in days. He went into a slum area in India. He put up a computer on the wall, just like ATM machine, and people were telling me that used to told him that no one is gonna come near to this PC and it's a waste of time and experiment. And to his surprise, when he came back after a month, he saw small kids of that village using that computer, and they requested him, can we have a fast one instead of this slow one? So you're right, it's all about giving the opportunity to someone who doesn't have that. And when you are presented with the opportunity, you can always do wonders. And I think you have the same idea in mind that opportunity हर बंदे को मिलनी चाहिए, because we all are equal at the end of the day, and we all अल्लाह ने हम सबको बड़ा अच्छा दिमाग दिया, and we can do wonders providing we are provided with the good opportunity. So I think that's very nice of you to think about this and start the entire thing on that. Very nice. Was there a defining moment in your life that pushed you towards working in development education sector? I think you already answered this one, so we can skip this question because your previous answer was regarding this one. Many people talk about change, but you actively build programs and institutions. What mindset helped you move from idea to an action?
So, for the kind of person I am, I think I honestly feel that I am not someone who will spend a lot of time on platforms or talking about the change and ideas. And by saying this, I don't want to disqualify the power of ideas, because everything begins with an idea. But only ideas without action, they create another conundrum. Without empowerment, if you make somebody aware of their rights, but you don't create opportunities for them, and you don't empower them to claim the rights, so it becomes another dilemma and problem. So For me, I believe that ideas and actions go hand in hand. And I'm someone who wants to see the change in their real lifetime. So it reinforces my energies. Because I started with research writing and advocacy, but it was frustrating me because everybody wants to see the change in their lifetime. So that was
Mm.
my turning point.
And do you want to share with my audience any success story of someone who you actually helped from the scratch and now they are doing something great in their life? Any success story you want to share?
There are multiple stories, but if I have to pick some, when I started working on a special program of education that was called Speed Education Program for out of school children. So we took a few children, around 20 children from a slum area of Rawalpindi. And there was a girl who had never been to school because she belonged to a Pathan family from Mohammed agency, and they were conservative and didn't send their girl to the school. So we started with her back in 2012. And now she's a graduate in mass media, and she's working, and she's very, she has empowered her own whole family. She enrolled all her brothers and sisters into schools,
Wow,
and she amazingly transformed the shape of her family. And there was
very
another in
nice.
the same batch who has done her graduation in psychology, and the same goes for her. And again, there were many students who came to this program who were not out of school, but they were dropped out of the schools in the initial stages because of many problems that we have in our standard schools. So she was beaten by a teacher, and she was very disturbed, and her whole personality
Okay.
changed for that. So उसका एक फियर था कि एजुकेशन में जाना या स्कूल में जाना वो सोचती थी कि शायद मैं कभी नहीं कर पाऊंगी but she topped when she passed her matric exam from
Wow.
board. So, and there are many examples. So, for example, in Madaris we have worked. So the students who did not have exposure of what they can become and what the other fields of education are. So there were many students who did wonders. And also in jails, when I got the opportunity to work in jails in juvenile section and women's section. So there was a lady who said that when I was out of jail, I was not allowed to go to school, but I came to jail, and there's opportunity in the adversity that I get to learn here. And she was very enthusiastic, and she continued her education when she got out of the jail.
Wow, that's a great story. Since you're talking about the curriculum and the helping them with different skill set, do you have a specialized curriculum for these people, or do you follow the traditional curriculum which normally schools and universities follow?
Yes, we do have a special curriculum because that's the key.
I
Most of the
see.
problem lies in the standard curriculum and the way that methodology is being followed. So we started developing the curriculum for this purpose, and it was very difficult because the challenge becomes double. These are the students who are away from education and from away from the idea of education, and they are not motivated enough to get into schools. So the first challenge is to persuade them, and the second challenge is to educate them in a shorter period of time as compared to the standard education that we have in our mainstream schools and education institutes. So to address this challenge, we developed our own curriculum. We started with language skills first. Before that, even we started with mannerism and ethics and personal skills, soft skills. And later on, we focused on building language skills, basic numeracy, computer skills, and then we introduced them with the general subjects, the awareness about general knowledge, science, Pakistan studies, social studies, and other subjects that are necessary for them. So yes, the answer of the question is that we spend a lot of time in developing, and we put in a lot of effort. A lot of people have put in a lot of effort in creating a curriculum that can address the problems and the challenges faced by particularly this segment of society.
And who are those people who are a part of creating this curriculum? Are they teachers, or are there someone within that environment where they observe things and help you craft something for those individuals, or how does that work?
These are basically teachers, and
Okay.
interestingly, none of them was a curriculum creator before. So the idea was to work with these children and come up with the ideas, and we had a rigorous feedback system through which we
Okay.
discussed the ideas, brainstormed, and we created the first drafts and the second drafts, and we made a lot of changes. Until now, the program is assessed continuously, and we keep on bringing changes. And here, I would like to share a very interesting thing that when I was a kid as a student, I was afraid of maths and English both. So
Okay.
when I started working in this program, gradually I started working because I took it as a personal challenge because it was difficult to me and it was difficult for most of the children in these days as well. So I created a book of speed maths for these students, and also for language skills, I created a book for English literacy, and that are approved by National Curriculum Council now. And I think that
Wow.
was an personal achievement, as well as I think they help a great time for these students as well to learn these subjects.
Nice. And are you getting some sort of support from government level for this initiative, or it's purely a volunteer?
Unfortunately, not. It is very difficult to get government support because we have an alternative or kind of a different educational program. Usually ये होता है कि आपको जब कोई different idea या different चीज आती है तो उसको बहुत सारी resistance मिलती है और उसको बहुत serious नहीं. So
Yeah.
since the beginning, we tried to collaborate with government in different provinces. It was a very difficult task. We worked with KPK government in jails, as I mentioned earlier, and also in developing small schools, evening schools in the government schools. So yes, a little support, but we expected more to expand the program. So unfortunately, we didn't get that much.
Okay. Maybe if someone is listening from the government sector, should contact you and help you with your cause. All right. So let's talk about some initiatives you took. The Little Hands Initiative and Child Labor. Your project, Little Hands, focuses primarily on child labor through education, right? So I want to understand, what realities did you encounter when working with these children and their families?
At different levels, we encountered different problems. So Little
Mhm.
Hands was my personal initiative. And since my childhood, I was very keen to learn fine arts. And I also wanted to study fine arts. But in that era, you must be knowing, we always ran after the subjects and that could give us a guaranteed career. So I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So एक उसमें personal भी ख्वाहिश भी थी कि arts की तरफ. Plus, the children who are working, they somehow lose their childhood. And they have to sacrifice their childhood for shouldering the responsibilities their parents give them.
Yeah.
Basic idea ये था कि आर्ट के थ्रू किस तरह उनको एक हाइड आउट दिया जा सकता है और वो कैसे लर्न कर सकते
Wow.
और फिर उसके बाद वो इंस्पायर होकर वापस एजुकेशन की. तो आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग विद द किड्स हु वर इन पिंडी, इन चकलाला स्किन ट्री एरिया. दे यूज्ड टू सेल डिफरेंट स्मॉल आइटम्स इन कार पार्किंग्स और मुख्तलिफ जगह पे. तो उनके साथ ये आइडिया करना शुरू, और गेटिंग टुगेदर वाज अ बिग चैलेंज बिकॉज दे डिडंट ट्रस्ट कि एक
Mm.
बाजी हैं जो गाड़ी में डाल के कहीं, और इस तरह के जो उनके शुबहात होते हैं जो कि काफी हद तक दुरुस्त. सो वो बहुत रिलक्टेंट थे कि व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड वर्किंग विद स्मॉल ग्रुप्स, तो वर्ड ऑफ माउथ इन्हीं बच्चों के थ्रू दे एंजॉयड वर्किंग ऑन डिफरेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स. से आर्ट और क्राफ्ट की डिफरेंट चीज़ों पे काम करते थे. तो शुरू इस तरह से किया कि हम डिफरेंट आइडियाज पे ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करते थे. मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म क्या है, टॉलरेंस क्या है, और डिफ्रेंशिएशन जो हम मुख्तलिफ बुनियादों पे करते हैं कैसे वो आपको कमजोर करती है. सो वी डिस्कस द आइडियाज इन सिंपल वर्ड्स एंड देन दे यूज टू क्रिएट आर्ट एंड क्राफ्ट based on the ideas. And to give them some financial reward, we had exhibitions and we sold those things in different exhibitions and
Wow.
online shop.
Okay.
So वो भी उनके लिए एक बहुत बड़ी अट्रैक्शन थी कि इससे हमें अर्निंग
Mm.
भी मिल रही है और लर्निंग भी मिल रही है. So many students came to schools. जो हमारा दूसरा मेरा प्रोजेक्ट है, बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स वहां से आए जब वो एक ट्रस्ट, व्हेन दे सी दैट समथिंग मीनिंगफुल इज हैपनिंग एंड इट हैज सम प्रॉमिस फॉर देम. अगर आपने चैलेंजेस की बात पूछी है तो उसमें चैलेंज, ट्रस्ट वाला चैलेंज या किसी ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट का हिस्सा बनना उनके लिए इतना ज्यादा अट्रैक्टिव नहीं होता है. तो इट इज अ मस्ट के बच्चों को कुछ एंजॉयमेंट भी हो, उनको कुछ रिवॉर्ड भी मिल रहा हो, बिकॉज द वर्किंग चिल्ड्रन वुड नेवर लीव देयर वर्क आवर्स, एंड अगर वो करने की कोई फैमिलीज उनको नहीं करने देंगी. So I think these are the challenges.
My next question is regarding this one. So, in your opinion, what do you think? Like, why child labor still persists in many communities despite there's a lot of awareness campaigns and policies have been made, but still you see a lot of child labor happening. Do you think it's like the owner of the house is not capable enough to earn, or what is the trend do you see in your opinion? Like, why this is happening a lot still in this era?
Because the root cause of why children are working, why we have child labor, according to an
Yeah.
estimate 11 million children in Pakistan are working. और रीजन्स के हिसाब से सिंध में जो है उससे भी ज्यादा रेट है. ज्यादातर बच्चे, आपको
Okay.
पता होगा, ब्रिटेन्स में ऑटो वर्कशॉप्स पे सड़कों पे काम करते हैं. बाजू का तो बेगरी की. सो उसकी जो रूट कॉज है कि बच्चे काम करते क्यों, हम उसको एड्रेस नहीं कर रहे. एट अ पॉलिसी लेवल, that root cause is not being addressed. Parents वही पेरेंट्स हैं जो खुद कभी चाइल्ड लेबर थे। जब उनके बच्चे वो ज्यादा बच्चे पैदा करते हैं, उनकी एक साइकी होती है सो दैट वो दे कैन हैव मोर अर्निंग हैंड्स, और जब बच्चा 10-11 साल का
Okay,
होता है तो दे लुक एट देम एज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी कि ये कमा कर लाएगा बच्चा।
I see.
चाइल्ड लेबर या जहां जहां भी काम करें, ऐसी पॉलिसीज बना दी जाएं कि इन बच्चों को रोक दिया जाए काम से। अब उन बच्चों को तो हमने रोक दिया है, लेकिन उनके घर का प्रॉब्लम या फिर उनकी जो पॉवर्टी का प्रॉब्लम है वो तो वही है, और ना ही हम उनको कोई अल्टरनेटिव ऐसी अट्रैक्टिव ऑफर दे रहे हैं कि वो चाइल्ड लेबर में इंडल्ज होने के बजाय स्कूल्स में जाएं। सो द मेन प्रॉब्लम रिमेन्स देयर, उसको सॉल्व करने के लिए कुछ नहीं किया जा रहा है, देयर फॉर इट इज हैपनिंग एंड चिल्ड्रन हैव टू डू इट। फ्रॉम माई प्रोग्राम, जिस प्रोग्राम में हम काम कर रहे हैं, हालांकि उस प्रोग्राम में काफी अट्रैक्शन है बच्चे के लिए, बहुत इंसेंटिव्स हैं, लेकिन बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स जब वो 13-14 साल के होते हैं बाद उनको एजुकेशन से ड्रॉप आउट होना, मिडिल प्रोग्राम के बाद वो ड्रॉप आउट हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि उनके ऊपर एक मेंस प्रेशर आज के पेरेंट्स इधर एडिक्ट हैं, उनकी मदर्स जो है वो मेड्स हैं घरों में, और उनको अगर उनके पेरेंट्स फोर्स ना भी करें तो उनको so the main reason of students dropping out of our program is also that students have to work.
Right. Okay. Interesting. We should work on the main root cause other than cutting off their earning hand because that creates a lot of problem within the family. Okay, let's switch
Exactly.
towards some leadership. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to add something. Sorry to interrupt you. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, because when we talk about social development, education, economic development, and social security and health, all these, aspects are very closely linked. किसी भी एक segment पे, किसी भी एक problem पे काम करते हुए अगर हम दूसरे सारे segments को ignore कर दें तो ये possible नहीं है। So ये holistic एक approach है. Development is a holistic concept. Side by side, you have to, government has to, and all the organizations who are working to solve these problems have to have a holistic approach. So we also try to approach the community, the parents of these families, of these children who we are teaching. We try to work with them to create opportunities for their skill development and for their for solving their other problems. We have time to time we have medical camps for them. We have ration campaigns for them. बच्चों को रिटेन करने के आपको ये भी करना पड़ता है, अदरवाइज दे टेक देयर kids out.
Exactly. And if you're cutting someone's financial thing, I think there's always a reaction. So you're right, Cameron, चीजों को better करने की जरूरत है साथ में. Great. In terms of leadership, what leadership qualities are essential for someone working in the development sector today?
I think number one, compassion, empathy, and commitment.
Yeah.
It looks very fancy teaching out of school children, karna, but when you actually go on ground and work with these children and work with these communities, there are a lot of problems. एक और problem ये भी है कि जब आप किसी की मदद करना चाह रहे हैं, वो आपकी मदद लेना या वो अपने तरीके से so it requires a lot of patience. अगर हम qualities की leadership qualities particularly इस segment में so you have to have a vision and you must be committed for a longer period of time. इस results एकदम से नहीं आते हैं, so you have to be patient as well. जो बात मैं ये कर रही हूँ कि इनकी तरफ से रेजिस्टेंस आती है, इन कम्युनिटीज के साथ आप काम करना चाहें तो दे विल लाइक टू हैव चैरिटी। वो कभी भी अपनी पोटेंशियल स्किल बिल्ड एजुकेशन के लिए लॉन्ग टर्म वेट नहीं करना, उनको देयर एंड देन अपने मटेरियल गेन्स चाहिए कि हमें फॉरेन से चैरिटी के थ्रू इस प्रॉब्लम से निकाला जाए, कंटिन्यूसली किए जाते। सो ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम। सो इससे डील करने के आई थिंक you have to have a long-term vision and again a lot of patience to keep working.
Patience is something which is very difficult to practice, but easy to say. So you're right. I do see that you also talk more about women protection and all that. So, what cultural or legal barrier prevent women from claiming their rights, and how can they be addressed?
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Can you please repeat the question?
So, my question is, what cultural or legal barriers prevent women from claiming their rights, and how can they be addressed?
There are many. So, cultural, when I said in the beginning that when I was growing up, I always questioned the system. Being a girl myself, so I experienced it myself as well. Everything was different for me just because I was a girl. And, I was tired of the gender-based versions of every right and expectation. Culturally, जो पूरी definition है एक औरत होने की या लड़की होने की, वो बहुत different है और वो बहुत deviate करती है from human rights to women rights. Basically, women rights are human rights. This is a very fundamental and basic thing. में कोई ज़्यादा समझने की बात, जो human rights हैं, वही women rights हैं. तो culturally, over the period of time, through literature, drama, through art, through economic policies and through wrong interpretation of religion as well, उसको बहुत skewed, तो culturally इन सारी चीज़ों को face करना पड़ता है कि at every step women have to have a fight to claim their very basic rights which are women rights. Legally again legal provisions हैं वो भी कहीं ना कहीं आपके culture से और उनका माखिज जो है वो बहुत हद तक culture ही होता है. So legally yes, for a longer period of time women in most part of the world didn't have the right to drive, didn't have the right to vote, or didn't have the right to own property, didn't have the right to be prime minister, to be CEO of the organization. और इस तरह के बहुत सारे जो बेसिक राइट्स हैं वो डिनाई किए गए हैं और उसको लीगल सपोर्टिंग करता. सो द रियल एम्पावरमेंट ऑफ वुमेन विल कम फ्रॉम देयर property rights, their financial empowerment, because that will give them a voice and that will give them a power of decision, and then they can improve themselves and also improve the lives of people attached to them. Precisely जो उनके property rights हैं, जो उनके economic rights हैं, वो उसको legal covering नहीं है और gradually बहुत ऐसा हुआ है कि इस तरह के राइट्स आ गए हैं और ऑन पेपर हैं, इन बुक्स हैं, लेकिन वो प्रैक्टिस नहीं किए जाते और
And I think practice इसलिए भी नहीं किया जाता क्योंकि they're not even aware that these are the basic rights. So my next question is regarding what you are doing on the individual level to help these women learn about their basic rights first.
I think the education first and foremost from their younger age, they need to know what their rights are, what their financial rights are, economic rights are, what their social rights are. मैंने कुछ research में भी की and I try to continue my research work on different topics related to naturally मेरी थोड़ा सा skewed हूँ, थोड़ी सी biased हूँ women rights की तरफ भी. So I wrote research papers. I wrote women Muslim women's property rights and it was published.
Okay.
And I am currently working on desexualizing a Muslim woman. So I try to write about it, I try to talk about it, and the people who I work with, I try to share my knowledge, share my understanding about them, about the topic, and I encourage them to show leadership skills. Mostly ऐसे ही होता है कि हमारे जो women students हैं, girl students हैं, हमारे स्टाफ में बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं जो कि गर्ल्स हैं, जो कि women हैं. So I think by giving them leadership and opportunities, we can create solutions for this particular problem. सिर्फ ideas के
Right.
साथ ये बात नहीं हो सकती. But
Yeah.
of course, we have to begin with awareness creation.
So, do you have any public platform where women they're watching this podcast go and see your videos and learn about all these policies and all that? Do you have any public platform or forum where you talk about these things and upload that on social media?
Currently, I don't have any particular platform on that regard, and I have been weak in this aspect. I'm very weak in projecting myself and my work. So recently, I have realized that it is very important to propagate your positive
is.
work.
It is.
When when the other side is working very actively, so the people who are working on right things, they have to project themselves as well and market themselves. Because earlier I was very shy to project my work even. So I now am working to have particularly a particular project
I can help
in this
you build
regard.
that brand of yours, so we can work on that together
Inshallah,
for sure.
inshallah, yes.
What is your long-term vision for education and social development in Pakistan?
Well, it's a vision that every child and every person must have the access to quality education, which is free from all kind of biases and discrimination. Also, the education must take into account their unique talents and their unique skills. And not everybody should
Absolutely.
be, passed through the same measures and through the same process.
Yeah.
और एग्जामिनेशन आपको टेस्ट करती है एक written paper, piece of paper के ऊपर. So there's no room for assessing and getting to know about children's unique skills and their talents because they are unique. God has made everybody unique in their own sense.
Correct.
So जब सबको
Correct.
एक ही पैमाने पे उसमें हम failure and first grade and second grade और pass. So ये जो divisions है ये मेरे ख्याल से बहुत बड़ी disrespect है उस diversity and uniqueness के जो कि अल्लाह ताला ने by design create की. So my vision is that एजुकेशन में बहुत बड़े रिफॉर्म्स होने की. एजुकेशन जिस तरीके से देखी जाती है, कंसीव की जाती है, इंडिविजुअल्स को नंबर्स ना समझा, उसमें इंडिविजुअल्स की यूनिकनेस को केटर फॉर किया जाए. मेरे ख्याल से इसको बहुत एक्सपैंड करने की ज़रूरत है, हमारा जो स्कोप है एजुकेशन का, अलॉन्ग विद करिकुलम, अवर एग्जामिनेशन पॉलिसी. सो बहुत सारी चीज़ें मैंने कहते एक बहुत ब्लरी सी पिक्चर में मैं चाहती हूँ, मेरा विजन ये है कि बच्चों को इक्वल कंसिडर किया जाए. it needs to change. It needs to have great reforms at every level. My vision is that every child, is celebrated. Their intelligence is celebrated. Their uniqueness is celebrated, and they must be given an opportunity to excel and discover themselves as they are.
I love the vision, and inshallah, you will be successful in your vision. My prayers are with you, and I'll be with you whenever you need my
Inshallah.
help. If you had the power to change one policy tomorrow, what would it be and why?
I just said that the examination policy.
Okay, right.
Because we blame the rote learning in schools, and there's no competence and there's no real life learning in students. And we just blame the students for that. But we don't accept and we don't realize that we are preparing them for that. We just prepare
Mm.
them to, ramifications. So there's no critical and creative thinking policy, and बच्चों को बोलने की speaking skills के ऊपर या and have a
Perfect.
more meaningful. Yeah,
No, I think that's a great vision. And let's go towards the end of the podcast where I'll be asking some rapid fire questions. So, coffee or tea?
both. Coffee.
Okay. Okay. If there's going to be a movie on your life, what would be the title of that movie?
If a movie is made on my life,
Yeah. So, what is going to be the title of that?
very difficult one. It will be titleless.
It will be.
It will be titleless. The title will be suggest a title.
Yeah, Banao Apni Duniya. Good
Maybe,
one.
yes. But it's very difficult for me, as I said in the beginning, to introduce myself and to summarize who am I, what I want to do is very difficult for me. So a movie, I don't think making a movie on my life will be a good idea.
A leader or activist who inspires you the most.
I'm inspired by a blend of personalities. There are many, and at times it is very difficult to separate them. But I think when I, deep down in my heart, I am inspired by Hazrat Khadija, being the very powerful and strong lady, and a very successful businesswoman, and she inspires me a lot. And then Bibi Fatima, her wisdom, her grace, and above all, I think for me, Bibi Zainab, who, despite all difficulties and sufferings, she rose above all these problems and she continued the legacy. So they inspired me a lot.
If you want to tell about your projects, ongoing projects, or whatever you're working on, and you need some support, now's the time you can talk about that before we end this podcast. So, any
Yes,
message or any, yeah, go good.
I would like to talk about other initiatives I'm trying to work on. I recently registered um, an NGO named after my late father, who is my hero. And at the end of the podcast, I would like to tell a little, personal story that
Sure.
me and my siblings were the first generation in our whole extended family who went beyond schools to the colleges. And me and my sister were the first and second women in the family who worked and who traveled. So we faced a lot of difficulties in this transition as well. So behind all this progress and transition, there was one man who was my father, Raza Shah. So after he passed away, I registered an NGO to, continue his legacy, because he always said that your goal is to learn, your goal is to learn, because this is something that will take you somewhere. And he was very inspired of me working on this project, teaching students who are out of schools, who are underprivileged. So I intend to work on education of the younger children who are from, age 4 to 6, and to make education inspirational for them, to persuade them towards education and learning. So that project is called ILM, Integrated Learning Model, under the Shah Foundation. And also there are many other projects. One is called Skillion, through which we'll impart different sets of skills for the students, for young ones, for the adults, and for women specifically. So these are the initiatives I'm trying to carve out, and I'm trying to work on that. I am sure that I will face a lot of challenges, because having an NGO in Pakistan is very difficult, and we have a lot of problems of resource generation and many other problems, legal problems on ground. So I'm dealing with them. Anybody who is listening to this podcast and who want to join hand and who have similar ideas, and I'm open to other ideas as well. So you're welcome to join hands and help me in that.
And how they can contact you?
Well, they can contact me through the social media pages of Radasha Foundation, RS Foundation, or Little Hands as well. Maybe I'm not sure whether we can give some email address or phone number through this podcast.
You can do that by all means. I think email
All
address is a
right.
good
So
idea, so
my
you
email
can
ad-
share your email address.
yeah, so my email address is shaistakazmi@yahoo.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Aista. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and I learned a lot about whatever is happening at the ground level in terms of whatever you're doing. We met once at Creative Mornings, and उसके बाद हमें मौका नहीं मिला इस तरह बैठने का and discuss करने का. So it was great having you in my show, and thank you so much for your time. Inshallah, I'll see you soon, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure is all mine.